Welcome to the Carbon Footprint Data Tracker walkthrough. So in this video, we're going to walk you through how to use the data tracker to collect and upload footprint data quickly and efficiently. The data tracker is really designed to simplify the way you input data into the toolkit. So instead of having to enter information manually, line by line, you can capture everything in Excel and then upload it all in one go. For example, rather than logging 100 individual flights, you can record them all in the tracker and then upload them all at once. This is going to be especially helpful if your data is coming from multiple sources such as travel bookings, accommodation, or finance systems. You can use the tracker as a shared spreadsheet to collect this information collaboratively, allowing different team members and departments to contribute without actually needing access directly to the toolkit itself. It's really important to note that while the tracker is a powerful tool, it's not going to be required for every production. If you already have internal tools in place, you don't have to use the data tracker at all. Instead, just keep in mind that if you choose not to use it, you won't be able to take advantage of the upload functionality that it provides. So for smaller productions with less data, you genuinely might find it easier and more efficient to enter data manually directly into the toolkit. However, for larger productions, particularly those already using multiple spreadsheets, the data tracker can offer a significant time saving. So when you first open the tracker, you're going to land on this first tab here called Read First. Along the bottom, you're also going to see a series of other tabs as well. But it's these first two tabs here that are going to help you get set up and guide you through how to use the data tracker. After that, you can see a Home tab along with separate tabs for each activity. These activity sheets are where you're actually going to be entering your data. And then the Home tab acts as a summary, giving you an overview of all the data entered across all the different activity sheets. Before we dive into the detail of these, we'd really encourage you to spend a bit of time going through the Read First and How To guide tabs. They're going to give you everything you need to get started and just make the rest of the process much easier for you. So let me navigate back to the Read First page, as I think this is really just the best place to start. This tab gives you a really quick overview of how everything works, along with a few important ground rules to keep everything running smoothly. Make sure you just take a moment to look through the critical rules section. These are going to help you use the Excel correctly and make sure your data collection and upload work without any issues. The key takeaway is basically to avoid changing what's already in the spreadsheet. So the less you change structurally, the smoother everything will run and the easier the upload will be. It's definitely worth reading through these in a bit of detail before you move on to make sure you then don't edit something that's going to cause issues down the line and cause the spreadsheet to not function properly. You're also going to find a really helpful navigation section on this page. It's worth a quick read as well, as it highlights in the top tips that's just going to make using the data tracker much easier as you go. So next, let's head over to the how-to guide. This page gives you detailed instructions for every activity and field in the tracker. So before you jump into any of the activity tabs, we really recommend starting here and reading the section that relates specifically to what you're about to complete. It's going to help you understand exactly what's needed for each sheet and save you time later on. You'll also notice that there are some handy hyperlinks under each section, so you can really quickly just jump straight to the sheet that you want to work on. You're going to see these navigation hyperlinks across the workbook, so make sure to keep an eye out for easy navigation. The how-to guide also explains that there are 3 types of fields you're going to see throughout the tracker: common, required, and optional fields. You'll come across all 3 as you move through the sheet, so it's definitely worth getting familiar with what each of these means. So let's take a quick look at an example. I am going to use the hyperlink under the commercial air travel section to jump straight into the commercial flight distance sheet. Now that we're here, you're going to be able to see the 3 types of field in action. So first, we have common fields. So these are things like name, description, country or region, and date. They appear on every sheet. So once you've used them a couple of times, they're going to start to feel really familiar. Next, we have required fields. So these are really important. You'll spot them highlighted in red with a little asterisk. On this sheet, for example, you can see the fields like return trip and class of travel. So these are fields that must be filled in for the rotor count and for the emissions to be calculated. So it's really important that we spot those and we fill them out. And finally, we have optional fields. So these aren't mandatory, but they do help add a little bit more detail. So if you have that information, it's really great to include, but it's not going to stop the tracker from working if you don't. We can see optional fields on this sheet identified under this column for audit only heading. And this is going to be the same across all the activity sheets in the data tracker. So one really helpful thing to remember is that all of the activity tabs follow the same overall structure. The only thing that's going to change is the specific input fields for each activity. If you're ever unsure, it's always worth coming back to the how-to guide to double check what's needed for that particular sheet. Okay, so now let's take a look at how to actually enter data into the tracker. So using the commercial air travel sheet as an example, first we'll start by entering some basic flight information. You will notice that some of these fields have drop-down menus. So you can either select directly from the list in the drop-down or begin typing to narrow down the drop-down list. For this sheet, the required fields are number of passengers, return trip, and class of travel. So I'm just going to make sure that all of those are definitely completed. You'll also see that you have the option to either enter the distance manually or to let the sheet estimate for you by filling out the origin and destination fields. So once you start entering data, you're going to see it reflected on the Home tab. Let me just navigate back there. So here we can see that 2 rows have been added to the commercial air travel distance section, but one is not ready for upload yet because the row is flagged as incomplete. You'll also notice that the banner at the top is showing the same status. So if I use the hyperlink just to jump back into the sheet, I should be able to quickly see that I've missed one of the required fields. So I fill that in and head back to the home page. You'll see that the status is updated and the row is now complete and the sheet is ready for upload. You can also see that the banner has also updated to confirm that everything is good to go and we have no missing data. The Home tab is really useful for spotting where there are incomplete entries, especially if you're working with large volumes of data or collaborating across teams and departments. So one final tip is because there is quite a lot going on behind the scenes in this spreadsheet, sometimes the homepage might just take a moment to catch up after you make a change in an activity tab. So if something doesn't update instantly, just give it a second, check back, and you should be good to go. And that is everything you need to get started with the data tracker. Just to quickly recap, start with the read first and how to guide tabs. Use the sheets to enter your data and keep an eye on the Home tab to track your progress and make sure that everything is ready for upload. Remember, the key to using the data tracker successfully is to just keep things simple. Use those drop downs, complete all the required fields, and avoid making changes to the structure of the file. It's also really important to remember that while the tracker makes capturing and uploading your data much easier, you're still going to need to provide supporting evidence for everything that you submit. So make sure you're capturing that evidence separately, and then you have it ready for you when you come to submit your information. If you ever get stuck, you can always head back to the read first and how-to guide for more details, but you can also go to the BAFTA Albert website, check the FAQs, and reach out to us directly at alberttoolkit@bafta.org if you have a very specific query. Finally, just to flag, make sure you're always working off the latest version of the tracker as updates are made regularly to improve the functionality and accuracy. Thank you so much for taking time to watch this walkthrough video, and happy data tracking.